Hello and a very good day. I am Ambassador Ghazala Khan. I am founder of the Next Generation's Leaders. I am also ambassador at the Federation of International Gender and Human Rights. And today I am with a person who is very near and dear to me, and she is on the hot seat today. Let me introduce you to a very dear friend of mine, Mary Kurek. She is the founder of the Frontrunner League. And let's ask from her that how she started her this journey. Let me talk a little bit about her. Mary Kurek began working life as the youngest member of the NC governor's staff at 19 and was awarded the Governor Long Life Pine Award from there. She worked with international dignitaries through US and state government program designed to improve multicultural relationship. She spent 8 years as the executive director of the Chamber of Commerce next to the world's largest marine corps air station. Wow. And graduated from the US Chamber of Commerce Institute for Organization Management. Kurek was awarded as commendation from the Commanding General of MCAS, Cherry Point, for her economic development impact. And the story goes on. So let me introduce, the very humble and nice lady I have ever met, Miss Mary Kurek. So please, Mary, introduce yourself.
I think you did a fine job. This is great. I didn't realize I'd done so much, but then again, I'm of an age that you have done a few things in your life for sure. I think probably the best way to say this is looking back on my work life. I can see the string or the thread that brought me to what I'm doing now. A lot of it had to do with politics and diplomats and international relationships. And I did a lot of programming, meaning that I would connect people with the types of people and the types of experiences they needed to have while they were in country. And, and just dealt with having a lot of different faces at my table at night for dinner, which was awesome. My 2-year-old son at one point was picked up by a woman that was a woman legislator from Johannesburg. And that's been years and years and years ago. And he's like 42 now. So, but it's what was really neat is being able to expose my family to those experiences. And as I moved along, I think at the point when I was at the Chamber of Commerce and experienced my own, let's just say, level of leadership, community leadership, then I think things started to sit on me about what I would do to leave my legacy. And so I created a youth leadership program there, took that model to a neighboring county, and I'm still 25 years later almost, and with graduates that are serving on the board of directors in the leadership role. So that's what you pray for when you do youth development. At some point, I would say probably about 15 years ago, I hung out my own shingle as a marketing consultant and business coach. And from there, wrote a business development book that was sort of centered on networking, and it was blessed and endorsed by the American Business Women's Association, and moved it around a bit. That caused me to have to get out of my comfort zone and go out there and speak and shop the book around and that kind of thing. And not long after that, I tripped into what a lot of people, maybe even watching this, have not put words to yet, an industry called social entrepreneurship. And that social impact work that we do, as they say, doing well by doing good. So it's greater good works. And I ended up kind of marrying two of the basic skills that I have, or talents, if you want to call it, which is writing and media and connecting people. And so as those came together, then what we have now is Frontrunners Development, which is the umbrella, the roof over Frontrunners Innovate, which is the media platform, and Frontrunners League, which is the community of people that we've interviewed, the people who make up a business development pool. So when we do conduct our business development, they're usually, I would say 99% of them are situate in that pool of people that we've gotten to know, that we've interviewed. And so we do both. We do the interviews, bringing in those people that are coming in to our radar, our system all over the world on what they are doing and how they approach the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And, you know, we kind of convert that into who can we connect them to that needs their solution, or vice versa. If they come to us and we know that they have an issue, how can we connect them to people within our network or our community of partners to see what we can do. And so you and I've talked before, and so we know that really what I'm doing is just connecting people for the Sustainable Development Goal number 17, which is partnerships for all the goals. And so that's really the business of what we're doing.
I would like to know that how you get the idea to start this whole the Frontrunners Innovate.
Oh, wow. Okay. I can tell you, I was thinking about that this morning, as a matter of fact. I can tell you that how the genesis didn't come clean, meaning it wasn't a clean, oh yeah, light bulb moment. This is what I need to be doing. It came in stages. And the first part of that stage was when I had written an article, gosh, now probably about 8-9 years ago, that was supposed to go in somebody else's magazine. Well, the editor of that magazine did not tell me she had changed format or anything about what she had done. And I had already written the article, and I thought, you know, this is dumb. I have the article written. Why don't I just do my own magazine? And so hence the Introducer magazine was born first. From there, about a year later, after I started the Introducer magazine, which was really, I had 3 or 4 clients there that all of them, by the way, it hit me later, were doing some kind of greater good work with whatever they were doing. And so I started interviewing them and putting them in the magazine with the idea that will generate business for them. So that at that point, the social entrepreneurship thing really hadn't taken hold. It did about a year later. And at that year point later is when things started to kind of move together. And within another year, the league was born, and that came from one of my advisors on my board, who literally had a conversation with while I was still at a conference. And I said, I'm thinking about something. This is what I'm thinking. And within 24 hours, he gave me the idea for the Frontrunners League. And then I had a business partner that came out of one of the first few people I interviewed the year before. And I talked to him, and he said, yep, this is what it is. It's the yin and yang. It's the media platform. It's the interviews, and it's the pool of business developers or business you know, folks that we want to try to move around. So the genesis of it was more business. And it wasn't until like a year later that, ooh, yeah, there is the business of social entrepreneurship. That's what it is. But the impact and the UN SDGs didn't start to unfold until about a year or so later. So that was the beginning of it. It was an article that I couldn't get placed that triggered everything.
So since when you are in this business, how many years?
Oh my goodness. Legitimately, I started making business connections for people, what I'd call business development connections for people in the video games industry. And that was about 15 years ago. And that was when social media was really kind of, Twitter and whatnot was really kind of taken off. And I think Facebook had already been there, and then MySpace came along and bumped Facebook, and then it went back and forth for a little while. But I got into it, and I was probably one of the few at that time that understood the value of it. And I started making connections, got paid really well to do it in that space. So if you want to talk about what the core of what I'm doing, how long has that been? It's been about 15 years, and really all my life, because, you know, I've been doing it in every job I've had. But from the standpoint of the Frontrunners property, if you will, Frontrunners development with the league and the Innovate media platform, about 8 years at this point.
So I was reading on your website that you are also serving as a counselor for the Madagascar as a trade and investment counselor. So please explore it. I want to explore it. Tell me about this, that how that
happened. How that happened.
Yeah, how it happened.
That is a good story. He was an interview that I made when he was Prince. He is now the king of Madagascar, but I solicited to do an interview with him, and it was a great interview. And I just felt a connection with him as soon as we got off the interview. after the interview, I started thinking about someone that I had in my network that might be good to bring to him. And I asked him, did he have a vision or an idea that he wanted to explore for Madagascar? And he actually showed me a picture, aerial shot of some property. And then he said, this is what I want to develop is around here, because there's not anything going on there. And, I'm over this property. And so I'd like to see something happen to it. So I had, based on that conversation, that like 5 minutes after the interview, I brought him 2 connections that would potentially serve him in that. And he liked that so much that after the second conversation, he came to me. He said, if I asked you to serve as a trade and investment counselor for the royal family, would you be agreeable to doing so? And I said, sure, because I knew I had other people I could bring him. I had like them standing in the back of my mind in a line. I already had them lined up and ready to go. So that's been about 5 months or so, maybe 6 months since then. And there's been a lot that's happening in his lineage, I don't know what you call it, monarchy situation where he's moving along. And there's some things that the royal family office is doing to kind of organize some stuff. But he's identified a project manager for one of the things that we're talking about. And so we're going to be progressing with some stuff with him soon. So yeah. That's how it happened. LinkedIn.
I can see that you are working on the very different platforms and on a lot of different sustainable development goals. And yesterday when we were in one show, you were talking that about the sustainable community. So I want to listen it again from you, and so that people can know that what is this idea about and how you are creating impact on this idea.
Once in a while as a business developer, you come across somebody where everything kind of lines up. The relationship that you have with them, the trust that you build almost immediately, the different buttons that they hit on your own personal mission. Because from a personal standpoint, I'm a faith-founded company, and I feel like, from one standpoint, there's the greater good work and impact that people do. And then there's the passion that you feel on the other side for not just doing the right thing, but doing what they feel like they've been gifted to do, that this is what their plan in life is supposed to be about. And I've run across that with several of my clients. And one of them actually does what I call a hybrid version of a smart city. You can't really call it a true smart city because it's very holistic in the way that it looks at developing a village. It's not for the people, it is with the people. And so they develop it with them as partnerships. And it really only takes sort of a center point in each of the places that we're looking at that would serve as a partnering vehicle, if you will, for moving the plans forward. And so a lot of it sort of starts around a data center, which becomes sort of the headquarters piece of the puzzle, and then starts moving out from there. We center around Africa. We kind of focus on Africa because there's a lot of need with all kinds of infrastructure and basics of life that needs to happen there. This village solves all of those. They get into all 17 of the goals. And the cool thing about it is it's climate prosperity enterprise solutions is the name of the company. And the co-founders, one of them has a political and research and development background, and the other one is a former U.S. congressman and former U.S. ambassador to Denmark. And by trade, he is an architect. And so they've been talking for years about how, they could do something that, doesn't get into the climate mix of things, but shows how you can actually prosper by creating a village that gets around some of the climate issues that we're dealing with. And so very sustainable, very, energy conscious with the solar energy, using the new technology from everything from the partnership we've developed for them with the Innovative Genomics Institute, so that we get into the agriculture where they can do indoor vertical gardens and 24/7, not have to be dealing with the climate outside. And then the ones that are doing the outdoor gardening or farming can do so with using CRISPR technology, where they genetically alter the crops so that they're more resilient to all the things that are causing issues with less harvests, and also require less water for them to deal with, because a lot of the areas that we deal with in Africa are drought prone. So, you know, there's a lot of pieces to that puzzle for sure. But what it fixes, the problems that it fixes once it gets rolling, is really amazing. But the number one best piece that I tell people about that whole village atmosphere is the fact that the people who live there and work there own it, and own it with shares that are transferable by inheritance. And so, you know, it's generations of people that are into the wealth building. And so the per capita income comes up, no more poverty. Poverty goes down, income comes up. And so there's a lot of policies around what they'll have to deal with to be able to grow their, I'll just say, their mindsets along with the actual village itself. So in so doing, I think you hit the empowerment piece and the inequity, you know, pieces that are out there under the UN SDGs. So, yeah.
So like you are working on a very big program, like it's impact the whole world, which I can say. So as you ask from everyone that what kind of people you want to be with you, or what kind of people you want to surround, so yeah, please tell me what type of people
Front
you want
runners.
to be with you.
I want front runners. And the way I define that is, if you're helping to solve one of the world's, you know, problems out there, then you're a change maker, you're an advocate, you're a thought leader, you're, you know, you have a product or service out there that in some way impacts health and wellness, education, you know, justice, youth development, disaster, transportation, all the infrastructure stuff, any of that, and then some. If it's solving a problem, then you're somebody I want to meet. If you're a founder, a lot of people will identify themselves as a founder or a CEO or an executive, you know, any of those, diplomats, any of those. If you have a stake in any of the SDGs and anything that improves, saves lives or improves the quality of life for people anywhere in the world, I want to know. I want to know you. That's the bottom line.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Another question which you always ask from the others. Today it's your turn. What kind of message you want to give to the community?
What do I want to leave to the community? Well, you know, I tell people we connect front runners to partners for impact. And so what I want to kind of bring to people's attention is, if you are one of the people I just mentioned and you have not identified yourself as somebody in impact work, do that. Identify yourself with what you impact. You know, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I was thinking the other day about talking to a group of teenagers and letting them know, literally, you know, if you're somebody who has trouble with your car and you need to take it to a mechanic, your mechanic becomes the most important person on that day, because you're not going anywhere unless you get your car fixed. Well, so he's impactful. He's helping someone. That mechanic is helping someone to get a problem solved. And while you might not think of that as sort of a social enterprise, you know, type of business, technically, you know, anything that you're doing that impacts somebody's life, makes it better, creates a quality of life. If you're doing it in one way, there's no reason why you can't tack on one or two things and create something a little bit bigger and more impactful. Mechanic can teach auto mechanics on the side, or he can train, you know, have an internship program and train other that gives youth, you know, opportunities and expands that. So there's a multitude of things that you can do to keep that corporate responsibility, if you will, or that impact piece in place. And honestly, if we could all think to do that in any line of work that we're doing, then we, I think, kind of meet what we're supposed to be doing here on planet Earth. Just keep moving the impact forward.
Yeah, that's great. I must say that you are the fantastic lady I have ever met, and it's a proud and honor for me that I am in your friends list, and I joined you as a partner, and I'm enjoying my work. Like every day when we have any program together, any interview together. So at the end of every interview, we have some wisdom, we have some piece of knowledge in our hand, and we at the end we know that yes, we are making a very positive difference, at least by giving our ideas, by sharing our views. So it's all fun, and I would like to invite everyone to join us. And it was a very wonderful and nice interview with you. God bless you and stay blessed. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye.